30 Days of Persuasion Plays with me, Paul Macetta. Welcome to the next episode. Today, we are going to talk about the fact that people will do more to avoid pain than they will to gain pleasure. And this is one of those golden nuggets that I discovered on the F train, traveling from my little one-bedroom apartment in Brooklyn to my job in Manhattan as a fitness club manager, working 12 hours a day, knowing that I had so much more to offer the world, looking for answers, looking for a way to improve myself. So what did I do? I used to download Tony Robbins' MP3s and listen to them on my iPod every single day. On my way to work on the train, on my way back. So while my friends were in Cancun, living it up, throwing girls in the pool at the Wynn Hotel in Vegas, I was on that train studying, investing in myself, making it my priority to acquire as much knowledge as I possibly could. And one of the things that Tony said was that people make most decisions. So mostly every decision that a person makes can be boiled down to either one of two things. The desire to avoid pain, to get away from something, or the desire to gain pleasure. And so once I learned that, everything else was really simplified for me. But once I started studying influence, persuasion, psychology, I started to read a lot of case studies that proved that people will actually do more to avoid pain than they will to gain pleasure. And here's the analogy that I give that I heard from somebody else, which makes total sense to me. You're in your house, you're dead asleep, it's 3 o'clock in the morning, your doorbell rings. You look out the peephole, or you look through the blinds, you see it's your neighbor. You're like, what does this guy want? You open the door, he's standing there in his robe, he's like, Paul, I was just looking online and I saw that Sears is running a special on tires. 50% off. I went over to your car. I looked at the tires on your car. The same tires that you have, they're running a sale on. What do you think? You want to go to Sears in the morning when they open? And you're looking at this guy and you're saying to yourself, is this guy out of his mind? But you think he has some good intentions, so you're like, all right, I'll text you in the morning and we'll figure it out from there. Have a good night. Versus scenario number 2, you're in bed, 3 o'clock in the morning, out cold, dead asleep, doorbell rings, you look through the blinds, it's your neighbor, you answer the door, he's like, Paul, I just saw 2 guys take all the tires off of your car. Now, I want you to think about the feeling that you experience after he tells you that versus the feeling that you experience when he tells you that tires are on sale in Sears. 2 very different feelings. One is a feeling of, okay, yeah, no problem, sounds good, maybe I'll do it, maybe I won't, versus, man, I need to fix this problem right away. Why? Because maybe you have to go to work in the morning, maybe you got to take your kids to school. The bottom line is, you have to fix that problem. So the bottom line is that people will do more to avoid pain than they will to gain pleasure. So, how do you utilize this to your advantage when it comes to persuasion? Well, the very first thing is you have to let them know what they stand to lose if they don't say yes to you. Now, what that means is maybe they can lose the price. So maybe you're offering them a specific discount on the product or service that you're offering them. And if they don't act now, they lose the opportunity to get that deal. Maybe you're offering them extra incentives, like bonuses. Like if they buy this product today, if they make a decision to say yes today, you're going to give them access to X, Y, and Z product as an added bonus. But if they don't say yes, they don't get access to that. Maybe you limit the access. So maybe if you're selling a physical product, you limit the quantity that you're selling at a specific time or a specific price. Basically, what you're doing is you're utilizing scarcity. And what the law of scarcity tells us is that people want something as it becomes less available. So as something becomes less available, people tend to want it more. Think of the diamond. I've been hearing that the diamond is a rare jewel since I was a baby. Yet diamonds aren't going anywhere. I've never heard of diamonds actually disappearing, yet it's supposed to be this rare jewel. The bottom line is somebody figured out a long time ago that as something becomes less available, people tend to want it more, and they just decided to tell people that diamonds are rare, causing people to want them more. So, let them know what they stand to lose. Now, there's genuine scarcity and then there's fake scarcity. So obviously it goes without saying, you actually want to use real scarcity. So if you are going to raise the price on something at 12 o'clock in the morning, raise the price on it. If you're going to close down a sale on something, actually close down a sale on it. If you're going to remove the bonuses, if you're going to remove the time, if you're going to remove the resources, the opportunity, actually do it when you say you're going to do it. Otherwise, you lose credibility with people, but you have to let people know what they stand to lose. Second thing is, you got to let them know who they may let down. Now, again, this is a delicate one. So once you start talking about people that they could potentially let down, obviously this is a very personal conversation that you're having with them. So in order to do that elegantly and effectively without offending them, you have to have one of two things in place, preferably both of them. You either A, have to have an extremely strong rapport with this person where they feel comfortable around you, they feel safe around you, they feel cool opening up to you, they're open to your criticism, they're open to your advice. So when you start talking to them about the fact that they're going to let down their wife, their daughter, their son, their mother, their father, whatever, they actually take it and internalize it instead of getting offended by it. Or you have to have authority, true, genuine authority over this person. And this person has to recognize and accept you as that authority so that when you tell them, if you don't do X, Y, and Z, you're going to let these people down, again, they're not offended by that. So a classic example of that is a psychiatrist. If you go to a psychiatrist or a therapist and you're telling them your problems and you're talking to them about the fact that, I don't know, maybe you're a drug addict or maybe you're an alcoholic or maybe you have an addictive gambling addiction or something like that, when you sit down and you tell them that, and that person, because they're an authority, they're a trusted professional, when they tell you that if you continue to do X, Y, and Z, you're going to let down your friends, your family members, your son, your daughter, your mother, your father, you take it to heart and you don't get offended by it. Now, of course, that's a drastic example, but in the presence of an authority, people tend to listen and comply more. So, again, let them know who they stand to let down if they don't comply with you. But again, make sure you either have rapport or authority, preferably both. And then, last but not least, again, circling back to number one, utilize scarcity. Just limit the time, the quantity, or the access privileges that you are giving them if they decide to comply now. But remember, people will do more to avoid pain than they will to gain pleasure. So if you find that you're in a situation where you're trying to persuade someone and you're talking about benefits, what they're going to achieve, what their life's going to look like, what their transformation's going to look like, what their future's going to look like once they acquire your product or service, and that doesn't seem to be working, it might be the fact that you haven't circled in and centered in on what they stand to lose. So start talking about that.